Okay guys, most of the time we're going to start the class with an introduction. So right here you can see our normal layout for each class. We'll start the class with homework and discuss what you did that week. Maybe you have some questions, maybe you watched a movie, maybe you're looking for certain suffixes or other things to help you be more self-aware with English. After we discuss that and we're on the same page and you've received the help you need, we're going to move on. We're going to discuss the date. We'll start every class with going to a calendar. Oh, and it's actually the 27th. We have October 2017, the 27th. And that is the date today. And every day we have our class, we're going to go over the date together. So let's take a look at the year. So January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. And there's an easy song that you can learn along with this. And then we're going to have probably a letter of the day, or a phrase of the day, or a sentence of the day, or a story of the day. It depends on where you're at. If you are learning English for the first time, we'll just start with letters. And if you're pretty advanced in your English, I might have a short story that uses some of your vocabulary from your monthly newsletter. So some of the words you're working on. And that would be a little more tricky for you to understand what I'm trying to say. And then we might have just a simple word of the day, something that's a little more difficult depending on where you're at. Once again, if you're learning English for the first time, I might just have a basic word. And if you're very advanced, I'll have something a little tougher, like right here we have defenestrate, so a little tougher, but that is an introduction to English class. Okay, bye-bye. Hello! Okay, so some of the activities that we'll be doing during the lesson are things with questions and statements. Okay, so everything in English comes down to two things. We have questions and statements. Okay. And with those questions and those statements, we can make a conversation. We can talk with each other. So we can start with a what question, what is your favorite color? And then that'll go into a statement. My favorite color is green. And then the whole conversation can continue on. And it gets harder, and there's some easy questions, but that is the basics of it. Maybe for a more advanced class, we'd have questions that have conjunctions as well, like what is your favorite color and where do you want to eat today? So we have that conjunction in there. And then the statement would usually have a conjunction as well. My favorite color is green and I would like to eat at so-and-so restaurant today. I'd like to eat at Burger King today, okay? So you have those conjunctions in both sides depending on what is said. Next, we have the pronoun game. A pronoun game is much easier to do in person, but we do it on the online classes using an iPad and with a sketching app. Finally, we also have reading time in class, where we have a variety of books, some very easy, while some are much more difficult. These reading books will have the vocabulary that the student is learning in class, and they can practice reading and understanding what it's trying to say in class. And you can ask questions, obviously, and learn through reading books. Next, we have writing time. With each topic or vocabulary words, there's homework and sentences that go with it. Writing time would typically be done outside of the lesson. The lesson would focus on speaking, listening, reading, and at home you'd focus a lot on writing and reading, and maybe some listening if your homework was to watch a movie or something like that. And finally, we have going over homework and general questions. When you're using your English or practicing at home, You might have things that come up, phrases, questions. Maybe someone will say something to you in English that you don't understand, and we can answer those questions in class and help with anything. Maybe it's an accent problem with how you're speaking, and maybe people are having trouble or difficulty understanding you. It doesn't mean your English is bad or anything, but that you might want some help getting better pronunciation. I know. Other things we might help in class are accents, or people understanding your speech. It's not a problem or anything, but others might have difficulty understanding you when you speak English, depending on whether you work at a hospital or you're a lawyer or any kind of job. Maybe you want to improve your speaking skills. Um, sometimes people Sometimes people have a very strong accent depending where they're coming from, and that will affect their intonation. Intonation is the sound they make with their voice. For example, in English, when we are excited or we're placing emphasis on something, we'll go higher at the end of the question, like, really? Okay. And if we're sarcastic, we might go lower. Really? Really? Okay. Or if you're going to maintain and you're trying to say you're being serious, you'd be like, really? Really? Okay. So you have these tones in English that can affect the way you're speaking. Really? 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 Okay. And another example of that, if someone had a very strong Indian accent, but they have very good English, they would go up with their intonation. Well, if you would like to go to the store, I would like to buy some vegetables. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that, but they might want to, or you might want to improve your accent. And by doing that, you would keep the tone more level or lower. In English, we tend to go lower. So you might go, would you like to go to the store? Would you want to get some food? Instead of food, would you want to get some food? Okay, and that's an example of some things you could learn in class and ask questions about and develop a stronger self-awareness with English and be more confident with your English speaking. Okay, so that is an introduction to what we do in class.